Hello, my name is Gil Zilkha. Welcome to my channel. This is my series entitled Essential Classical Music, where we look at the best recordings of the major classical music works. This video is taken out of my larger video covering the major symphonies. If you enjoy this, I hope you will go over and look at that larger one. Just know that you don't have to watch it all in one big gulp. It is divided into chapters. It's real easy to just click through and choose whichever symphony that you're curious about. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to skip over the fourth, and I'm going to talk about another one of the most famous symphonies ever written, the Beethoven Fifth, of course, with the dun 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 at the beginning, and then this just wonderful transition between the final two movements, where it goes from this hushed quietness and just builds and builds into an explosion, a triumphant explosion. And the best recordings are the ones that really make the most out of that as well. My top choice for this one is not controversial at all. I'm sorry to say. I'm not going to try to make waves with this. My top choice is Carlos Kleiber and the Vienna Philharmonic. Arguably the most famous classical music recording ever made. It was recorded in 1974. And the reason it caused such a sensation is it's just so darned electric right from the beginning. Carlos Kleiber was just such an exciting. He was the son of Eric Kleiber, incidentally, who we just talked about. And it wasn't like he just played everything, conducted everything fast. He had this great sense of drama. I think is what really set Kleiber apart. And the Vienna Philharmonic sounds great. The sound quality is great. It's legendary for a reason. That said, there are other ways to do it. And another recommendation that I have from the same time period, this is from 1976, is Leonard Bernstein. Now, Bernstein was more of the patient school, you might say. You don't typically turn on his Beethoven and get wowed right away. But he understood, he knew how to pick his spots, and he understood the structure of the work, so that this Fifth Symphony is powerful in a way that grows on you as you're listening. Now, I want to emphasize that this recording is a live recording from an Amnesty International concert he did with the Bavarian Radio Symphony Orchestra. This is not the Vienna Philharmonic recording from his complete cycle that he did a few years later. That one actually is a little bit, for me, it's not just that it's slow, but it kind of lacks enough energy for me for the Fifth Symphony. But this one is a really great performance. It's a little bit more eccentric, a little bit slower, but it's really great. Now, another recording that is this time on the more aggressive side, the more energetic side, is Sir Charles Mackerras with the Royal Philharmonic Symphony Orchestra. In 1992, this was recorded. This was also from a full cycle. And Mackerras he's not a period performer, but he's about as close as you can get to a period performance with modern instruments. He tends to favor a lighter sound, more transparency, and definitely faster tempos. Particularly the adagios and the andantes, the slow movements. With Mackerras, they tend to be on the quicker end. Now, if there's one symphony that benefits from this approach, I would say it's this one, the Fifth Symphony, that benefits from that sort of driving forward characteristic of Mackerras. But it's very musical, and even though it's a little bit lighter in sound than, say, Kleiber or Bernstein, it's very dramatic and very powerful, and he just really knew how to do this symphony, and this is one of my top choices, as well as and this one's very different. This is a period performance from 2007. This is Jas van Immerziel with the, I'm going to see if I can say this right, Anima Eterna Brugge Orchestra. This is definitely a period performance, and it is very light and very quick. But Immerzil really shows the benefits of period performance in the dexterity and the ability to articulate and play things quickly, and he does it in a way that really truly is exciting in its own way, even if it doesn't have the big powerful chords that we're used to from people like Klemperer and Karajan and Furtwängler, for example. Definitely one to check out. Now, again, I want to go back and look at a couple of studio recordings that are in not as good sound, that are in mono, but still worth looking at. One is from Klemperer again. This time it is his mono recording from 1955. He did do one in stereo, but this is really the one that is the more exciting one. And again, with Klemperer, it's almost like you hear these other recordings, and then Klemperer comes and he's like, "Let me show you kids how to do it," because he's very steady, very disciplined, but he has this relentlessness about the way he goes about it. That's just you just keep listening. It's very powerful in its own way. Now, on the other hand, we have, again, where did I put it? We have the Kleiber, Erich Kleiber, father of Carlos. This is coupled with the Third Symphony. So this is also the Concertgebouw. This one was recorded in 1953, and it's not a carbon copy of his son. It definitely has the energy and the excitement, and it's a bit faster, but I would say with Erich Kleiber, there's even more of a feeling of looseness about it. It's even less controlled and almost more of a wild abandon to it, more of a grittiness to it. And again, even though the recording quality is not perfect, it's still pretty good. It's a little bit more rough, but it's really an exciting Beethoven Fifth. However, again, I have to go back to those two giants of the first half of the 20th century. First of all, Furtwängler. Furtwängler, of course, was known for his Fifth Symphony. He did one. Now, I want to say again, he did one in the studio for EMI with the Vienna Philharmonic. I said that the Eroica he did was still really good. The Fifth Symphony, a lot of people admire it, and it definitely, it has, his conception is there, but especially this recording of the Fifth Symphony, I think doesn't have the same energy that you see in his live performances. So that's one where I think it's a mistake if you listen to that and think you're getting the full Furtwängler. Really, you need to hear his live performances. The first one that people often turn to is the wartime recording of the Fifth. This was recorded with the Berlin Philharmonic in 1944. And it shows you his conception in fairly good sound for its period. It's not very noisy, although it is limited. And it's very powerful. However, it's, in my opinion, really a couple of performances that he did after the war that show Furtwängler in best form. The first one I want to recommend, this is actually his first recording or first performance he made after World War II. This is with the Berlin Philharmonic from May 25th, 1947. Again, you had to be careful. He did one a couple of days later, which is also pretty good. But really, this is the one that, to me, is maybe for me the most thrilling Beethoven Fifth that I've ever heard. You can tell that the excitement of returning to Berlin, to his people again after the devastation of World War II, was something that was really emotional. In fact, there was a story that the Allies, after the concert, were worried that this was some sort of a political demonstration because the crowd was going so wild. It's just right out the gate, it's just electric. And in particular, one thing I want to point out is the very end, the coda of the symphony, which sometimes, it's like bum, 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 bum. It just keeps repeating those chords, and it gets a little bit tedious in some recordings. Not with this one. This one, all the way to the end, it just holds your attention. It's just fantastic. So that's a great one. Another one is where is it? This is the May 23rd, 1954 recording. This one's a little bit slower than that 1947 recording. It's not as freewheeling perhaps, but it's really powerful. Just these strong granitic chords. The transition from the third movement into the finale, I've never heard one like it before. That just it's just the way it comes out and just it's just so powerful. So there's that. We also, of course, then have Toscanini. This is again from his 1939 cycle of radio broadcasts he did of the of the Beethoven symphonies with his NBC Symphony Orchestra. And this one is just, again, electric. That first movement, you're not going to hear one like this. It's almost militaristic the way it's just, I don't know, just so, how to put it, it's kind of clipped, very sharp and clipped and very, very disciplined and yet exciting and free at the same time. And again, that transition from the third movement to the final movement is just real exciting. So another example of where there are different ways to do it, and you really can't replace these performances. They're kind of one of a kind, even though they have limited sound. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, I hope you'll also take time to click the like and subscribe buttons. And with that, I want to wish you all a great day and happy listening.